Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It has been a very long time since I did a sort of life update sit down video. I have posted a few travel videos in the last couple of years. But other than that, since 2021, this channel has been pretty much dead. And there's a good reason for that. And it's because in the beginning of 2021, we were in our last ever COVID lockdown. Like 5.5 years ago. It feels so crazy. We were in this last lockdown. I was living with two friends in Westminster. We went out for a day. We came back home and there was a letter on the doorstep where they were essentially just telling us that they were filming something in the area. And I went to uni and studied film. I really essentially moved to London from Sweden, which is where I am right now. More on that later. I moved to London primarily to work in film. I moved in October 2018. This was January 2021, so 2.5 years. I'd been working in the Apple store at Regent Street, which was amazing. But ultimately, my goal was to work in film. And I got this letter dropped on my doorstep, literally on my doorstep, saying that they were going to film something in the area. So I just emailed the person on the contact form and said, I want to work in film. Can you get me in contact with anyone? And he managed to get me a job as a location marshal on this Sam Rockwell, Saoirse Ronan film called See How They Run. And I worked on that pretty much all the central London locations for 2 months. With that money, I was still working at Apple at the time because we were in lockdown, so I could kind of juggle both at the same time. With the money from that job, I bought a car and instantly got a job for 9 months on Apple TV's Masters of the Air, which was ultimately my dream job. I should probably sit down and do a video of all the jobs I've ever worked on. Ended up working on that for 9 months and then I didn't really have time. You work 60-hour weeks minimum in the film industry and I just didn't have time to make any videos. Fast forward to 5.5 years, I kind of felt like, ooh, I don't know if I enjoy this anymore. And primarily it was because I was at the lowest rung in the locations department for about 3 years. And everyone was like, oh, you're ready to step up, you're ready to step up. I never got a step up. So I gave myself a deadline till December 2025, which was 7 months ago now. And if I didn't get stepped up and start working as a location assistant, I would just leave the industry and move. Luckily, by the summer, I was a location assistant. I'd done some studio assistant work as well, which is a different type of job, but doing the same thing. I still kind of felt like I'm done with London. That was the thing I was done primarily with, was London. I had had enough paying extortionate amount of money in rent. Everything just felt too busy. Having lived through COVID where everything was empty, like you remember my video of me running through London during lockdown, like there was no one out and it felt so nice and peaceful. And now there's just like so many people everywhere. So at the end of the day, I just felt that 8 years in London was more than enough. And I wanted to move back home, which is where I am right now. I'm in my parents' flat, which is not ideal. It's not where I want to be. But I've actually got a flat viewing tomorrow, which fingers crossed, the 3 people ahead of me in the queue don't want it. So hopefully by September, I should be living in my own flat at literally half the cost of renting a 7 square meter room in London, which to me is insane. Like that shouldn't be a thing. But yeah, so I just thought I'd do this video to update you on what's happened, where I am, and what this channel is gonna be in the future. So I wrote a little note on my notes app. As I said, I've worked in the film industry for 5.5 years on some of the most like insane productions ever, but ultimately Masters of the Air, which was my second ever job because I don't count the one day I did on The Great, was ultimately my favorite job because Band of Brothers is my favorite thing ever. I love Spielberg Hanks. I love war movies. And ultimately I got to live in 1943, 44, 45 for 9 months. So to me, that was the most exhilarating of times. I still kind of want to work in film in Sweden, but I haven't really figured out what to do because it's not 100% full-time work all the time. And Sweden's like industry is way smaller than London. So we'll see what happens. Right now it's like summer holiday, so everyone's on holiday. So I'm gonna have to wait until like August to start contacting people and seeing what's happening. Ultimately, my plan is to actually start studying again. In the back of my mind, my backup plan has always been to be a history and maths teacher. So I've been studying history for quite a while, and it's free to study in Sweden, and you can kind of do it like module by module and then eventually build up to a degree. So I've done half of a degree, and then I realized I've studied the wrong history. So I've applied for History B, which starts in September until January, and then I'll see if I enjoy being a student again and if I want to commit to another 2 years of studying. In that case, I'll be a student for 2.5 years and then eventually be a qualified teacher in history, which I'm quite excited to be. It would be nice to just have like a normal job for once, because it's been a while since I did that. But I also ultimately do want to work in film. So I'm going to see if I can do that and see what the industry in Sweden's like. But at the end of the day, I have worked on like the most insane stuff that I feel quite content in how I've left the industry. And I was on top of my game. I was a location assistant, and that's what I wanted to do. So I have no issues with never working in the industry ever again if that's what happens. I don't want this video to be really long because ultimately barely anyone watches this channel, but I wanted to give the few people who still watch my videos a little update on what's going to happen to this channel. So I love traveling still, and I still want to travel and make videos. And I think those videos I'm going to be doing in English unless I'm traveling within Sweden. But I also kind of just want to do homey vlogs. I'm obviously getting my own flat so I can film all the time. Previously, because I had flatmates in London, I felt really awkward about filming. I always had to wait for for everyone to be out of the house, which doesn't happen very often when you live with 3 or 4 other people. Like even now, I had to wait for my mum to be out. My dad's away, and I waited for my mum to be out of the house so I could sit down and do this video and the next video I'm going to film right after this, because it's just awkward talking to a camera with other people listening. What I'm trying to say is the videos I do when I travel and stuff like that will be in English. All my other videos, home videos or renovating videos or whatever I end up doing with my new flat, they're going to be in Swedish. But because most of my following right now, you are all English speaking people who don't understand Swedish, I'm going to put subtitles on all my videos. So don't worry, you're still going to be able to watch them and kind of follow along with what I'm doing. But I feel like it's weird being in Sweden doing English videos when I'm ultimately actually a Swedish person. I know I started this channel 10 years ago in Sweden and I was doing like English speaking videos, but ultimately my goal was always to move to London. So to me, it made sense. But right now, I just want to make content in Swedish, maybe try and build some kind of like following or channel that people like coming to watch. So I'm really excited to be able to create my own home for the first time ever, because I've always just lived in a bedroom and that's never ever felt like my home. So I'm excited to be able to decorate my living room and my kitchen, my bedroom, and all the other stuff. So I hope you follow along with that. I'm also kind of tempted to try and change my channel name because I feel that the Giraffes Life, everyone's just got their names now. So I'm going to try and figure out a username that could use my name in the like channel title. I don't even know if I can change it, but we will see. But it will be something that's like universal, so it won't be like a super Swedish name. But we'll see what happens. But yes, I don't know how many videos I'm going to be uploading until I get my flat, because all I do every day is watch TV, go to the beach when the weather's nice. That's pretty much it. So maybe I'll do a little like weekly video or something for the next couple of weeks. My next video is going to be a haul, and that's going to be my first ever video in Swedish. So I'm quite excited to do that and excited for you guys to watch and hear me speak Swedish, because most of the people I know, you never really hear me speak Swedish because I'm never around my Swedish people. So excited to hopefully by September have my own place to live. And it's going to be so expensive to like furnish it. Finding a bed, way more expensive than I thought it was going to be. But I'm going to take you all along on that trip and that journey. So I'm hoping that you stick around and forgive me for turning this channel into like a Swedish speaking channel. But hey, you can learn a new language. take this as your Duolingo and we'll all have fun together. So thank you so much for continuing to support this channel and following me along on my next journey. And my next video is going to be a haul, which I'm going to start doing right now once I cut this video. And I'll see you then. Thank you very much, and cheers.